I'm Anastasia. I go by the name Alpha Rats as an artist. I'm a visual artist and game developer, so I'm working mostly on developing VR experiences recently and on visual work, like illustrative work and 3D artwork for games. The work we are showing here with Vladimir Storm is Wump VR, amongst other experiences, which is one of our collaborations. It's a virtual reality experience for the HTC Vive. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the work. I understand that there is a conceptual part and a more technical part in the way that the artwork is experienced.
Wump VR is a game about, we wanted to make a game about the different life stages, about how someone goes from the womb and goes through the different stages of life until death, which is actually coming back to the womb. And we decided to treat it in a very abstract way, where the environment represents how the body of the player changes as he goes through the stages of life. So that's our core idea. Concerning the technicity, we are using Unity 3D and the HTC Vive. We focus a lot on the interaction parts of the game, like we want all the environment to be interactive, and we are using a lot of procedural tools to build the visuals. So part of it is hand modeled, but we used also we use Houdini, which is a procedural 3D modeling tool to add some organic feel and look to the object. So it's kind of, it's procedural, so it's calculation, like we can generate it with functions, and also a lot of procedural visual effects which are completely calculated and which are written by Vladimir, like shaders, different kind of pretty experimental tricks. I don't know, like maybe like I got lost this time. I should maybe condense.
No, that's perfect. And just like you mentioned before, please tell me again what VR means for you, the two elements about.
So yeah, for us, what really characterizes VR as a medium is on one part the interactivity. So we focus on this a lot. For us, it's very important to be able to interact with the objects, but if possible, even with their texture, like to have the surface of the objects respond when you touch it. And we prefer to have like eventually lesser objects, but to be able to interact with all of them, that they all kind of make sense, like they're just, that you can interact, grab them, look into them, like play with their surface. And the other part for us, like which makes VR interesting as a medium, was, I forgot.
Interactivity and the immersion, wasn't
yes.
it?
Yes. And the second part which makes VR for us, which characterizes VR as a medium, is the immersive part. Because it's an overall sensory experience. So what we really are trying to do is to create an environment which is completely different to what people experience in their daily lives, something which really looks out of this world. So we rely a lot on aesthetics for that, on the visuals. And we rely also a lot on the visuals to communicate our idea. So we don't really have a storyline with text or like a quest you have to accomplish. We really want to communicate like our idea through like strong symbols and color schemes and archetypes, like to get into something more abstract that people can easily relate to. So this is our, the way, like the two main ideas I think that we had behind this experience, like when we started to design it.
Perfect. And from the artwork, let's talk a little bit more about yourself. What is your background and how come you chose this way to create art?
So I came to VR development from video games, and I came to video games through illustration and drawing. I first started making 2D games where I would draw the visuals, or like, and then switch to 3D games, and from 3D games to VR, because it seemed like a logical progression to have. So yeah, this is how I came to it.
That part of illustration becoming interactive, the 2D games, I think that must be a very interesting place to be, the transitional part.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, because when I started to make even 2D games, as my main background was already drawing, like of course, like from the start for me, the visual aspect of things was very important, and that was, of course, like the interaction as well. But it was my main strong point when I started to make this kind of work. And I believe that it's still my main strong point today when I work on games or like on VR experiences, that it's my main focus is visual design.
And shall we close with an overall impression from the festival? How was this experience for you?
Overall, it was an interesting experience. It's interesting to have this kind of space within these events at large, and it's even more interesting to have VR represented in an art exhibition in general. I think it's pretty interesting.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.